Nobody goes into the profession hoping to become a mediocre teacher.
Sometimes what I do is based on what I've seen. And even when I don't necessarily feel like that's the right way to do it, it's like, well, I've seen it done, so maybe that's what I should do.
My name is Aletta Margolis, and I'm founder and executive director of Center for Inspired Teaching. The problem was, kids are born innately curious, very excited to learn, and that intellectual curiosity was not getting fueled in schools. In fact, it was getting stifled. And so I decided to work with a group of teachers to change that.
It's kind of like teacher camp. And if everyone been to camp, like this is like what camp is like. And camp to me was about, having the freedom to grow up. And like having the freedom to learn from your peers.
Teaching can be a very isolating profession. You go into your room, you close the door, you may not see another adult all day long. And that does not breed the kind of growth and joy that needs to be in the teaching profession.
I don't know if everybody experiences this kind of diversity within their school or not, but this is so rich for me.
One of the wonderful things about our work is that we bring together teachers from a variety of backgrounds and in a variety of subjects who can support and learn from each other.
For the first time since I moved to DC as a teacher, I feel like I have a peer group or like a home base, which I wasn't sure for some time if I would survive here as a teacher, and I feel that now.
It's really amazing the community that's been created, just the spirit of the group.
I didn't know that I would learn so much about myself.
I think being in this course has kind of defined my future for me. It's more clear that there is a way to change.
I'm not alone in wanting to better my classroom, better myself, and better my school.
It's been inspiring, uplifting, encouraging.
Center for Inspired Teaching works in partnership with teachers. We invest in teachers to bring about the kind of education reform that's going to make school a place where students and children's innate curiosity is nurtured and fueled. It not only teaches the teachers to be more effective in their classrooms, but it also teaches them how to make sure that they are meeting state standards, how to make sure that they're preparing the kids to do well on their standardized tests and on all those external assessments, but in a way that's meeting student needs. So it's meeting the adult needs of standards and tests, but it's also meeting the student needs of building their curiosity and their ability to understand and solve problems and building their intrinsic motivation to learn. Teachers learn to see themselves not as information providers, but as instigators of thought, meaning they really provoke kids to think and to figure things out for themselves. They instigate thought. There's an activity designed to teach this, and it's called Teaching Through Questions. We ask teachers to find something they could teach to another adult that they really might not know how to do. In a moment, you're going to teach your student your thing, whatever it is you've brought to teach, right? You really want that person to learn. But there are some rules, as you might have guessed. All right? You know all these materials you've brought, teacher? You may not touch them. Okay? You may not touch your materials. Also, there's more. Also, teacher, when you speak, you may ask questions. You may not make any statements. So their job is to teach their partner by observing, engaging in really, really thoughtful observation, seeing what their partner's doing, and then crafting the next question that's going to get their partner just a little bit closer to understanding. So telling students what to do doesn't build their internal capacity to know how to do things on their own. If you wanted to blank, what might you do? All right? So that's one that's been helping a lot of people. If you wanted to blank, I'm giving the goal, what might you do?
So what do you think needs to happen in order for you to feel comfortable using the
When teachers begin to ask more questions in the classroom, students begin to re-envision their own roles. Instead of being passive recipients of learning, they become active participants in the creation of knowledge. And that's what we're going for. We talk a lot now in education reform circles about data-driven instruction. It's very important. Some of the data that teachers need to use is test score data, is analysis of student work, an equally powerful piece of data that is often underrepresented in data-driven instruction is the teacher's observational data. How does a student approach a problem? How does a student solve a problem? How does a student react when she gets it right, when she gets it wrong, when she encounters a new challenge? And that skill of observation and collecting data and then adjusting your instruction based on what you've seen has to be studied. It's hard work. It takes a lot of work to learn how to do it.
For me as an adult learner, like seeing something alive in front of me and actually then recording about that was so incredibly powerful that I realized that like their language too, I think, could be that much more expressive if they had kind of a little life unfolding in a little world that they could sort of refer back on.
By observing crickets and learning about them, you not only learn how to teach the scientific method to your kids, you also learn how to build your own observational skills so that you can be a better teacher. So we have educators practice in this role play where they see and experience what it feels like to be in the shoes of a student again.
So I'm going to whisper to this teacher something in a moment, some situation that's going on that you're not going to know about right away, all right, that has to do with this child.
What happens is the facilitator gives the person playing the teacher sort of a secret intention. Something's going on, a secret objective, a secret situation. It might be this child who's walking into your classroom just failed a test and you have to figure out how to tell him. Another scenario we use is somebody stole $20 out of your purse yesterday and you think it was this kid, and here he is. And the goal of the activity is to help the teacher understand the power of the messages we send to our students through our body language, through subtext. Even when we think, hey, I greeted every child, I said hello, you know, they think they know I love them. Well, you know, you may be sending other messages underneath that you're not aware of.
She made eye contact. What else? She shook her hand. She was, all right, and then this is back to our judgment versus conclusion. You saw her being pleased. That's an analysis. What did you see her do that makes you conclude she was pleased?
Through this activity, they get a better glimpse into how their students perceive them. These kinds of experiences in our courses translate into big changes in the way teachers interact with their students in the classroom because they now have an awareness and an empathy for students. So instead of seeing students as disruptive or difficult or a behavior challenge, they see students and say, you know what? They have feelings, they have ideas, they have needs, they have things that they care about that maybe I'm not quite addressing. So maybe that's why they're acting a certain way. And it really transforms, again, not only the relationship, but the quality of the instruction that teachers are able to create for their students. The impact of Inspired Teaching's work with teachers is simple. Teachers teach better, and kids learn more, and they achieve more. And we're working toward a day when every child has an inspired teacher, one who embraces the challenge and opportunity of the profession because he or she has the tools and the skills necessary to thrive within it.
What do you think is going on?
Didn't really change her expression that much. The first time the teacher was like, this really showed me that while I'm interacting with that child, the rest of my class is watching that interaction.
So we have educators practice in this role play where they see and experience what it feels like to be in the shoes of a student again.